Hi, my name is Tim Zerillo, and today is August 17th, 2010, and this is our first in our criminal defense series, criminal defense video number 1, what to do if you're approached by a police officer or another law enforcement officer and you're trying to find out, should I speak to that person? Before I get into that, I need to issue a brief disclaimer, which is basically that number one, I practice law in Maine, and this may not apply to whatever jurisdiction you're watching this in. And number two, I don't know the facts of your specific case, so this is sort of general information only and does not apply to your case. So don't think that this is legal advice for whatever you are facing. That aside, I think there is a general rule of thumb that usually should be applied in most cases where you are approached by law enforcement and they want to take your statement somehow. First of all, remember, taking a statement doesn't need to be formal, it doesn't need to be in writing. This could just be as simple as them talking to you about your side of the story, and usually it's couched in a way that they say, we want to get your side of the story. Everyone wants to tell their side of the story, but you don't understand that later on that could be twisted. Don't forget, police officers are trained how to get incriminating statements from people. So you need to be very careful here. You are at a disadvantage if you are in an interview with a police officer. So as a result of that disadvantage, you really need to remember the general rule of silence. Silence is, in fact, golden in these situations. You have an absolute right to remain silent, and you should invoke it. There's a recent Supreme Court case from this summer, June of this year, Burgess v. Tompkins, which says that you need to, if you've been read Miranda, you do need to say, I invoke my right to remain silent, not literally those words, but you need to say, I do not want to talk, or I'd like to stop talking, rather than remaining silent and not answering questions. So, invoking your right to remain silent and being silent is very important in most of these situations. The reason why is because although there are good police officers and bad police officers out there, you can't tell the good ones from the bad ones as you're doing the interview. Some police officers are great about just simply reporting the facts. Others, if you talk to them, you will get a police report and you'll be shocked at what they say you told them. So you have to be very careful, and that's why silence is the number one and golden rule that applies to most cases. It doesn't apply to every case. For example, in an OUI case in the state of Maine, it may not be beneficial to you to refuse an intoxilizer by remaining silent. That's a different issue. But generally speaking, silence is the rule. I'll give you an example. Yesterday morning, I spent all morning in a motion to suppress in a federal gun case in the courthouse right behind me. And in that federal gun case, my client did an interview with the South Portland Police Department. And in that interview, the South Portland Police Department promised him that if he delivered them the weapons and told them where all his firearms were, that they would not charge him. Well, ultimately, he told them where the firearms were, and they did in fact charge him. As a result of that, he's now stuck in federal court, facing, unfortunately, years in prison, and we have a motion to suppress pending, and we'll see what becomes of that. But the point is that in all likelihood, he would have been better off remaining silent. The best scenario, frankly, is for you to call my office or contact my office somehow and get some advice on what you're facing, because this is just a general rule of thumb. If you have to go into an interview with a police officer, which you don't, by the way, but if you feel like you need to, you should be going in there with a lawyer. Generally speaking, I will tell you not to go in there at all, and I will speak to the law enforcement officer. But that's a story for another day. So for right now, just remember the general rule is that silence is golden when it comes to speaking to law enforcement officers when you may be a suspect, and that's just something for you to think about for the future, but really I need to analyze your case individually to tell you what you should do. So, in light of that, you can always call us at our office, 207-347-6063. We're located in Portland, but we serve the entire state of Maine in both federal court and in state courts. I also practice in the First Circuit Court of Appeals in Boston, and am admitted to practice in the Supreme Court of the United States in Washington, D.C. We're always happy to take your calls and talk to you. You can find out more about our law firm by going to our website, which is www.getzerillo.com. G-E-T-Z like zebra, E-R-I-L-L-O.com. Or again, you can call us at 207-347-6063. Now, if you're watching this video and you're having a sort of emergency situation over a weekend, our office is closed. That doesn't mean you can't reach me. Just email me, tim@getzerill.com. I hope you've enjoyed watching this video, and I hope our future videos are informative for you, and I look forward to speaking to you soon.